children, for many of us, there was absolutely nothing better than waking up on a summer morning, going to the TV, and turning on our favorite TV show to watch. Scrolling down to Nickelodeon and seeing Drake and Josh, or Zoe 101, iCarly, Victorious, Ned's Declassified, Pair of Kings. The list goes on and on. It was the early 2000s, and we had not a care in the world. And at the time, we had no idea about the...
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Now that I really think about it, there's no more TV shows to watch. Like, we all spend our time probably watching Tubi movies, Netflix shows, on TikTok, on Instagram. No one watches TV anymore, bro. Nobody. Like, I can't think of the last time I actually, like watched, like, a Nickelodeon show. I'm not gonna say TV because I watched Monday Night Raw and I watched SmackDown. That's the only shows I watch on TV. Other than that, I watch movies and I watch... I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch anything else.
Absolutely vile things happening behind the camera to many of our favorite actors and actresses. And we couldn't imagine the horror they went through because of some very sick and twisted individuals. With a new documentary releasing soon, exposing Nickelodeon, and the recent news coming out in that documentary from Drake Bell, I decided it was time to make a video consolidating the information and the allegations against former directors, staff, creators, and the weirdos on these Nickelodeon shows. Today, I will be exposing the scumbags behind the scenes of Nickelodeon and shoving their awful deeds right into the light so y'all can see them. The goal for this video is for their crimes not to be just swept under the rug like nothing happened, which is I'm sure is what they would want, but I want this video to be a spotlight on how bad these people are and how sick they are. Let's get into it, shall we? As of 2 days ago, when I'm writing the script, a documentary titled Quiet on Set was leaked into its release date, which is on March 17th. The purpose of the documentary is to expose the people behind Nickelodeon for these abhorrent acts of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse on their child actors. In the documentary, actor Drake Bell, known for playing in Drake and Josh and in The Amanda Show, claims he was SA'd while filming at the age of 15. This assault was done by the dialogue coach on The Amanda Show named Brian Peck. However, this is not the first time Peck would do something like this, nor would it be the last. You see, Peck himself pled no contest in 2004 for performing a lewd act with a 15-year-old. We would figure out later that the 15-year-old was Drake. But later, Beck pled no contest for oral copulation with another minor. At the time, he only spent 16 months in prison for these heinous crimes. Peck...
People getting 5 years for it now, bro. That's insane. 16 months is what? A year and 4 months, I believe?
Worked on many Nickelodeon shows in the early 2000s and the late 90s, and he had a multitude of other projects outside of the network that he was in. He was an actor, a voice actor, a model for video games, and he's been in over 50 movies, including the X-Men, X2, he was in Holes, TV show Good Burger, The Amanda Show, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Boy Meets World, and many others. And the whole time he was on these shows and movies, he was a sick freak. Drake Bell stated that the assault happened numerous times while being on...
Where's his wife at? Where your wife at? That's a real question. Where your wife at? Answer that.
...cast for The Amanda Show from 1999 to 2002. He was only 15 years old, like I said. When Peck was arrested in 2003 and charged with the 11 charges of abuse, and he was also labeled on the sex offender registry, we didn't know at the time that it was Drake Bell being one of the victims. Even though we know this now, we still won't be able to ascertain the full story until the documentary comes out. But as of right now, it's looking like I will be sick to my stomach on March 17th. One would only be able to hope that this kind of thing wasn't a repeat occurrence behind the scenes with other people at Nickelodeon. Sadly, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and the horror runs much deeper. It is widely known that DS, who directed and created many Nickelodeon shows, had a very toxic, very bizarre work environment for those shows. DS created Nick's most popular shows, like The Amanda Show, Zoe 101, iCarly, Victorious, shows that millions loved to watch every single day. The first person to expose DS for his strange and weird abuse came in the form of Jeanette McCurdy's memoir, titled I'm Glad My Mom Died. In the memoir, she detailed many uncomfortable experiences she had while filming iCarly, as well as Sam and Cat. She
I'm
referred
not
to
gonna lie to you, bro. Yeah, this picture is low-key kind of crazy. I'm gonna keep it a sec with you, bro. Because why is you taking a picture holding her in a headlock and you that big in the first place? I'm sorry, bro. She probably can't even breathe.
to DS
Look at her
as
eyes.
a powerful figure and gave him the nickname the Creator. It's assumed that she called him the Creator because of NDAs and the legal issues that might come from outing him outright. She spoke of this Creator as a controller and a source of emotional abuse, saying things like she was pressured into drinking alcohol while underage, and she was getting yelled at loudly during kissing scenes. She also says the Creator explicitly asked that bikinis be included in the wardrobe for the talent. That way he could see these children in them.
And then this man have a foot fetish for feet or something like that. Like, he loved feet. Like, it was a scene with Tori's feet, Carly's feet, everybody's feet. It's weird.
She went on to say she was forced to try on this clothing in front of many people that she wasn't comfortable with, to the point where her own body physically shunned away and she tried to cover herself up. Jeanette McCurdy had a very tumultuous and toxic relationship with her mother at the time, and it's thought that the lack of a strong parental figure protecting her allowed DS to abuse her mentally and somewhat physically, forcing her character Sam to gorge herself and eat over and over again, while Jeanette was facing these issues in real life with her image and her food consumption. Essentially, he didn't seem to take care at all about what was going on behind the scenes and used it as a sort of weapon against her. These statements are sadly commonplace for many young actresses and actors from that time period, with people who worked on...
This picture is insane, bro. No, bro, no. He's smelling her hair. What is happening? Look at that picture. What is going on?
These sets. With DS, it really doesn't stop with physical abuse or mental abuse of his actors. It goes even further with deep-seated misogyny and racism. Insider talked to several writers on various shows that DS created, and one writer named Kayla Alpert recalled a moment when she said DS told her that women weren't funny and asked her to name one funny woman. And another writer on the same show revealed that DS rarely hired women because they didn't like having female writers in the writer's room. Reports and inquiries kept finding that there was no proof of SA or that kind of abuse with Dan, but that he was aggressive and yelled a lot on set. But with so many people claiming physical abuse, they're not all lying. It was common practice for DS to yell and scream at his child actors. In one account, on set of all that,
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I feel like if you're a director, I don't believe you should be yelling at a child. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think you should be yelling at anybody at all between adults, young adults, and children. Because I'm gonna keep it a sec with y'all, chat. Yelling does not yelling does not really get the person to understand, bro. That just makes them like way more confused. Because I ain't gonna lie, I was in ROTC back in the day, and it was a move I couldn't get right. So the dude kept yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling. But then it was another team that was an ROTC that kind of told me how to do this move. And then he taught me very calmly, and I got the move right. Now, to me, I don't think yelling does not do anything at all. It just makes it worse, and it's something that this I don't know why they do it. I don't know. I guess it's the OG thing, I guess.
Was having trouble filming a part of the show, and DS yelled at her so hard that she ran off the set crying. Many things like this are a repeat occurrence with different actors at different levels. You have people that were famous for these shows, like the lead actors, and then other people, like writers and creators that made the show. All of them keep saying the same thing. All of this leading to DS and his crew taking advantage of these kids. DS claims that there were caregivers and parents always on set, but I'm sure they didn't have a say in anything, and it just left DS and his crew using these children like cash cows and exploiting them physically and emotionally. Another actress, Alexa Nicholas, who played Nicole on Zoey 101, described working on that set as traumatizing, alleging that she was held in a room alone and verbally abused many times by DS. And another writer that worked on Zoey 101 called it a maddening, disgusting, controlling little bubble. All of them referring to DS and his methods, of course, as cruel and unusual. They didn't have to say his name for us to know who it was. Daniela Monet was another actress, and she played Trina on Victorious, which was Victorious' older sister.
Man,
She told
I tell y'all, I used to have the most hardest crush on Trina. I ain't gonna lie, she was fine though. She was fine.
Business Insider several years ago that some of the characters' outfits were not age appropriate, and further expressed anger and dissatisfaction with the over-sexualized parts of the show. At the time, we didn't really see what was going on as fans and watchers, but when you look back at these shows now, you see all these strange, feet shots and licking and kissing, and then you realize these kids are underage. These are like 15-year-olds, and their feet are being like touched and licked for minutes at a time. And there's so many more bizarre things that were shown on screen.
What is he
doing?
doing?
You can look back and see, yeah, there was something going on.
She is though.
DS was also exposed for requesting massages from adult female colleagues in 2000. This was thrown into a hostile workplace legal claim that same year, and that's how we figured out about it. DS has since acknowledged that he asked for massages, but he claims that he, quote, regrets ever asking anyone.
Why? Why won't you just why won't you just go get a massage? It's not like this nigga ain't got money. Go get one.
Sound like a freak. You are a freak. DS and Nick officially cut ties in 2018, which marked the end of his 25-year tenure. The reasoning for the termination was because of the growing number of allegations and outings of physical, emotional, and SM.
The real question is, when did the allegations even start?
Alexa Nicholas's and Jeanette McCurdy's statements, of course, spearheading that movement. Just 2 years ago, on August 25th, 2022, Alexa Nicholas joined in on a protest outside of Nick's headquarters in Burbank, California. She was holding a sign that said, "Nickelodeon did not protect me." In an interview, she says that she didn't feel protected at Nick as a child. And on Instagram Live one time, she said that she's demanding Nickelodeon starts protecting children and not protecting the predators.
Ooh.
In other sad news that is unrelated to this video regarding Alexa, she seems to be dealing with a very real and very dangerous stalker as of the last year. I hope she gets the peace she deserves after these many years of abuse from all sides, and I hope everything works out for the best.
Also, didn't Amanda Bynes, was it Amanda Bynes or was the girl from 0-1 that had an issue? And I remember they had wrote a whole entire sentence, and like all the first letters of the word of the sentence said Dan did it. Was that Amanda Bynes? Because I remember that. I don't know if that was Amanda Bynes or somebody else.
The allegations go even deeper with DS than what I've mentioned already, with people speculating that he even got actresses pregnant and then paid them to terminate the child and to keep quiet. There are several rumors that DS got Amanda Bynes pregnant and that he got Jamie Lynn Spears pregnant. He has not been charged with these crimes, and these are only allegations
How old was she?
as of this video, but with all the other sick he's done, is it really that far out of the question? Now, there are many supporters of DS who claim that nothing sexual ever happened on set, and it was just DS trying a little too hard to be friends with the child stars. But to those people, I say, abuse, whether it's physical or sexual, is not just going to happen in broad daylight for hundreds of crew members to see. The abuse likely happened under the cover of darkness, where only he had the power. That's what these sick individuals do. They want it all to themselves, with no repercussions in sight. But again, it does not stop there, and not by a long shot. The rabbit hole gets deeper. Marty Weiss is a name that you've probably never heard of. He was a longtime manager of young talent in the industry, specifically working with Nickelodeon.
He looked creepy too, bro. The man need a haircut.
And since he's on this list, you can guess where this is going. 47-year-old Weiss was sentenced on July 1st, 2019 for 2 counts of lewd acts with a minor under 14 years of age. He faced 8 felony counts for assaulting one of his former clients. The child, who is the client, is an unidentified male, and this unidentified male told police that Weiss SA'd him 30 to 40 times over a 3-year period.
Where your wife at? Where's your wife? Where your wife at? Where your girlfriend at? You ain't got no hoes?
Starting when the boy was just 11 years old. And because of this, police suspected that there were other victims as well. This is a man who his entire job was to be a safe haven for young actors and actresses in the industry. He was in a position of authority and was supposed to be somebody that these kids could look to for safety and guidance. And he used this position to take advantage of these children and do horrible, awful things. For all I just mentioned, Weiss pleaded no contest and was sentenced to 1 year in county jail and 5 years on probation.
There's no way, bro. 8 counts, you're gonna get 1 year? This man got time. This man needs time. You got 1 year? 1 year?
But he was eligible for parole on June 1st, 2020 because of good behavior. He was registered as a SA offender and is not allowed in the presence of anyone under 18. For me, this sounds like a slap on the wrist for an awful crime, and I cannot believe this guy got less than a year for these crimes. The young male victim, who still remains unnamed, said that Weiss told him, quote, "What they were doing was common practice in the entertainment industry, and if the victim were to tell anyone, it would ruin the victim's career and hurt them both," end quote. Weiss saying this to the young male victim essentially proves how gross people are in the entertainment industry. Who knows how many more people there could be doing this stuff that just haven't been caught. Marty Weiss ran his own talent company for years and used it to get in contact with minors like this. He only dissolved the company a few years ago when he was arrested, and then once again got off with a slap on the wrist, and now he walks free.
This man got it easy.
Jason Handy worked alongside DS on The Amanda Show and The All That Show as a crew member. On April 12th, 2003, he was arrested for performing lewd acts with a child under 14 years old. The assault happened 3 years beforehand in 2000.
Bro, it's no way. Like, it's just no way they doing this stuff and they don't have a loved one. Like, they don't got a partner? Where's your wife at? Where's your wife?
When he kissed and touched a 9-year-old girl in Glendale, California on set. He was released on bail later the same day he was arrested on April 12th.
He got bail?
4 days later, after he got off on bail,
how do you get bail for that?
The LAPD arrested him again on a no-bail felony warrant and charged him with accosting, soliciting, and enticing a child under 16 with the intent to make a child commit an immoral act. Pretty much, they realized that they let this freak leave on bail, and they arrested him again on stronger charges. An investigation was then opened into Jason Handy, and many truths were unearthed. It was discovered that Jason Handy attempted to prey on kids at his church, in his neighborhood, and even on the internet. And he's
in the house of the Lord is diabolically crazy. You're going to hell.
Specifically used his connections at Nickelodeon and his connections to DS to get in contact with young children. I think I literally might be sick. Like this, I mean, seriously, this is disgusting. He was then put in prison for 6 years for the charges against him, which again,
should have gave the other man 6 years.
6 years for literally assaulting a child, but whatever. And maybe to your shock, or maybe to your not shock, this would not be the last time Jason Handy struck. You see, a decade later, in 2014, after he was already out of prison, he was arrested in Guilford, North Carolina, on 3 counts of indecent liberties with a child and 2 counts of offender violation. You remember when I said that they made it illegal for him to be with a minor? Yeah, we see how well that worked. And as of the last article I could find, Jason was being held on a $1 million bond.
Oh yeah,
I can't find any further documentation of him being charged with these crimes in North Carolina, but situations like this prove that releasing people back into society does not always go well. He was in prison for 6 years, and he got right back out and did the same thing across the country in a different state. And the fact that he worked with DS and used him specifically to get into contact with children literally makes my stomach churn. Lastly for this video is another Nickelodeon worker convicted of assault on a child while working there. The man's name was Ezel Channel, and Channel was actually a production assistant on Nickelodeon shows, including ones under DS. And on December 16th, 2005, Channel or Chanel, I don't know how it's pronounced, but I don't think the sick freak gets that liberty. Channel was arrested on suspicion of molesting a 14-year-old boy at Nick Animation Studios while he was working there. He was charged with 2 felony counts of lewd acts with a child and was jailed on a $500,000 bond.
Dang.
Eventually, Channel will be sentenced to 7 years and 4 months for his crimes, and it would be uncovered that he showed pornography to this 14-year-old boy. But I was actually able to find the police case for Ezel, and it gets even worse than that. So it turns out that Ezel was a registered sex offender before he was hired at Nickelodeon. Before these crimes happened in 2005, he was on the list. And
they still let this man work. I'm not surprised.
Nickelodeon hired him. And that's what this case file is about. His first crime happened in 2002, which was 3 years before these crimes I just told you about. In the case file, it claims that Channel met his victim through his own friend. The victim was his friend's godson. Izell was walking around his neighborhood when he saw the victim, and Izell asked if the victim could help him move some furniture in his house. The victim was a boy of just 13 years old. While inside Izell's apartment, sitting on his couch, he showed the boy his nether regions, and then he asked the boy to show him his. He then proceeded to touch the boy in an inappropriate way and asked the boy to do the same. This was all in 2002, and the boy eventually told his parents, and Izell was charged with offender crimes then. Then, of course, 3 years later, in 2005...
This is why you don't talk to freaking strangers, bro. This is why! This is why!
When he was working at Nick, the events I told you first conspired. He assaulted a young boy and showed him pornography. This is kind of similar to Jason Handy. Jason Handy was charged and arrested for his crimes and then released, only to commit the crimes once again. And Izell Channel was charged and registered as a sex offender, only to be released and work for Nickelodeon and commit the crimes again. Nickelodeon hired this guy knowing he did all that, and it led to another innocent victim being abused physically, emotionally, and sexually. In conclusion, the early to mid 2000s and late 2010s was a very, very dark time for Nickelodeon and their talent. Even though we were all watching these TV shows being produced by DS and his crew of pedophiles, we had no idea about the details that I talked about today. And now that all of this has been aired out over the years, it really puts a blotch on the innocence behind those shows, the childhood naivety. It makes it hard to enjoy them as much when you realize what's going on behind the scenes and how miserable these kids were. And then for DS to stay on the company until the late 2010s, even after the allegations...
Wait, has this man been to prison yet? Or anything like that, bro? Has he? Has he?
In the harsh criticism, it just doesn't look good. It looks actually awful. But we can only hope that Nick stops hiring pedophiles for their shows. That's our only hope. And maybe, just maybe that'll stop the abuse. But as Marty Weiss told his victim, what they were doing was common practice in the entertainment industry. And if the victim were to tell anyone, it would ruin their career and hurt them both.
I will never look at Nickelodeon the same. I'm sorry, I can't do it.